Hello YouTube and fellow DC Comic fans. I'm Kelly One Shot, and this is the Post-Crisis Podcast. And today, we're going to talk about Justice League number 30, Year of the Villain, written by Scott Snyder and James Tynion IV. Okay, so this is a very big issue of Justice League. This is Justice / Doom War Part 1, and we actually start this off where we see Lex Luthor attacking the Justice League. He's in his new Apex Predator form, which is him mixed with Martian DNA, creating Perpetua's original human, the first Apex Predator, and her original design for our multiverse, this multiverse built out of Doom. We see that John Stewart is attacking Lex Luthor. We see that Lex Luthor single-handedly takes down the Justice League. He invokes the Still Force on the Flash. He uses the Ultraviolet Force against John Stewart, and he just dismantles the Justice League. And then he breaks inside of the Hall of Justice, where you see beings like the Monitor, and you see the World Forger, Starman, the Titans, Justice League Dark, and all bunch of members of the Justice League. And yet Lex is still able to walk in with Perpetua behind him, and he easily takes down the Justice League. We then actually see that this was just a glimpse of a potential future, of the future that Starman was shown, and that was the Justice League being killed, being destroyed by this new form of Lex Luthor. And he's showing the Justice League that this is a vision that he's had when he was showing the son of Kendra and John Jones. He was showing him a vision that he had tuned in when he was tapping into and talking to, I think his name is Shayani. I don't know how to pronounce it exactly, but he showed him a vision in the last issue, and now he's showing that same vision to the Justice League, and we actually see that this is something that he sees is going to happen, and this is going to happen in 3 days' time, and that we are going to be destroyed by this new rising Doom power. And the Justice League is addressing this issue, and then they actually see that if they are to have any chance in this, that they can't do it alone, that this is the big ones, and if we're going to stand any chance, we need every single one of you, so consider yourself deputized. And we actually see that everybody in the DC universe, essentially, everyone from Wallace West to Simon Baz, Metamorpho, Guy Gardner, Shazam, Mr. Terrific, Steel, and Jericho, Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Batgirl, Canary, Supergirl, everybody here is being deputized into the Justice League, even Ted Kord as well. And they say that if they saw this vision, Guy Gardner points out that if they saw this vision in the future and this is what's going to happen, then how can us being added to this stand any chance here if Lex Luthor was able to single-handedly defeat all the Justice League? And then Superman and Wonder Woman, they talk about it. Starman talks about it, how he has a plan, and then he actually eventually starts talking about how the multiverse was a symphony of life and energy, and how all of it is elements operating in harmony with one another. That harmony comes from the most important energies being played in unison, and as some of the most powerful forces of the universe, it is no coincidence that some of our world's greatest heroes are also tied to these same energies. He talks about the Speed Force, the emotional spectrum, the Spear of the Gods, the Life Force, the collective unconsciousness, the dimensional structure, all of these forces that act as strings that are pulled across the musical instrument that is the Justice chords. He's referring to something here that Scott Snyder even talked about within metal, and these frequencies and how the multiverse acts on different frequency energies, and it's even a reference back to Multiversity, written by Grant Morrison years ago, which established many of the laws of the DC's multiverse. And it's actually pretty cool here. Starman then actually talks about the 7 hidden energies of darkness that Lex Luthor and the Legion of Doom are wielding. He talks about all the different things like the Still Force and all these other dark energies like the Ultraviolet Force and all these different things, and he says that that's how Perpetua created the universe originally, was with these dark energies. But eventually her sons, the Monitor, the Anti-Monitor, and the World Forger, decided that her plans were evil, that they were a way of doom, and that wasn't good for the universe, and it wasn't what was supposed to be the intention of our multiverse to begin with. So her sons, the Monitor, Anti-Monitor, and World Forger, actually sealed Perpetua behind the Source Wall as a way to stop her. But eventually Lex Luthor was able to uncover a fragment of the Totalitary, which in itself was a cage that imprisoned Perpetua, and it was left to him by his father. And it's this piece of fragment of the Totalitary that allows Lex to tap into the different energies of Doom, and he's actually unlocked 6 of the 7 energies, but the one that he hasn't unlocked so far is tied to Faith. And right now, Lex Luthor has made a call to all the Visions, and Faith is actually siding in Doom's order, and that this is gonna be a battle, make no mistake, because Perpetua will rise, and she will return to restring our multiverse and remake all the reality in her image, and that she's going to use it with the original dark music and the dark chords that she created with these different forces. But that Starman also references that he, for much of his life, he's also been connected to the brighter chords, and that he has a connection to the Totalitarian as well, and how Lex was given a piece of the Totalitarian as it fell throughout all space and time, but it's him, Starman, who also has had a piece of the Totalitarian this entire time, which is something that we actually do know about Starman, especially the older Starman. And then later on, this piece was also given to Stargirl, and that is the Cosmic Rod. It kind of just looks like a gold cane with a little hook at the end. So if you've ever seen Stargirl or even Starman in any of his forms, he's had this rod, and it's a piece of the Totalitarian that connects him to the Totalitarian itself. And so through that, he's able to sense these other pieces of the Totalitarian that split off throughout time, as it made its way throughout all of the multiverse, throughout time and space, how we saw in this original run when the Totalitarian did first land on the Earth. So through his Cosmic Rod, he's able to sense all the different fragments, and he creates a plan that he's going to essentially tap into space and time with his powers and with his Cosmic Rod, and that he wants to send the Justice League forward in time and backwards in time to find the other pieces, because then together they can actually hope to take on Lex Luthor in his new Apex form, and with his bigger piece of the Totalitarian that actually has more power than the separate pieces, but united these separate pieces can be stronger than what Lex has. And Batman actually mentions that if the team that's sent into the future fails, we lose. If the team that goes into the past fails, we lose. Basically, if anyone fails, we lose. And then Guy Gardner is like, great pep talk, Batman. We actually see that Kendra isn't really having any of this. She takes off, and then she's not really happy about the situation because of what happened to John Jones, which he was essentially absorbed into Lex Luthor, creating the Martian half, which was able to make him the Apex Predator version of himself that we see today. Superman actually stops Kendra, and he's like, basically like, I know what you're thinking. I know the darkness that you feel because we lost John, and I know that the dark places that the mind can go when you see a friend die, but this isn't what John would want. He wouldn't want you to be obsessed with Luthor, and he wouldn't want you to be ready to cross a line. She insists that she's going to be fine and that we all have work to deal with, so she's going to go. We actually see that someone is actually spying on this conversation the whole time, and then meanwhile, somewhere in a swamp, we go to the house of the Legion of Doom, where we actually see that Lex Luthor has been spying in, and we actually see Perpetua for, I think, the first time directly in person, where she is talking to Lex Luthor in the present time, that is, and she's saying how he has grown more and more powerful every day, and that he grows stronger by the minute, and that she grows stronger by the minute, because Lex is confused why she would reveal herself and come out of the chamber. And she says that she's getting stronger and that he can feel it in his new form. She also says that you've risen so far to be from such a lowly base form. You're a marvel to me, Luthor. And Luthor says that the old Lex would have loved that praise, and he won't lie. He still wonders what she's gonna say, but he does feel the turn of the world, and he's not alone in his work. He does say that your disciples grow by the hour. He's been reaching out to them and gathering the resources. He's offered his gifts to all the different villains, and then he shows this new Legion of Doom here, and he says that your disciples of Doom shall go out and spread your word of evil throughout the world. So we then get a look at the much expanded Legion of Doom as well, because it's essentially, we got your Ra's al Ghuls, we got your Deathstrokes, we got your Black Adams, we got your Solomon Grundys, we got your Lobos, we got your Old Man Captain Cold, Black Mask, Riddler, Harley Quinn, which is like, is she good or is she bad? Another thing that I see, ironically, and it's why I mentioned it earlier, I swear I see Jericho in the back left there. How can Jericho be on both teams? Is there something that I'm missing here? How are there two Jerichos, which is the son of Deathstroke? And then also, why is Catwoman here, right front and center up there with the Legion of Doom? Because in the Batman series, she's like saving Bruce Wayne's life, and the two of them are about to enter the city of Bane and stop Bane from his clutch on Gotham City. So where does this all flow with that, and why is Catwoman here? Because she's been made into a good guy character for a long time now, so I'm kind of confused by that. And Harley Quinn, even too, she's supposed to be a hero in a lot of stories, and now she's just been given this gift, and she's one of the Legion of Doom too. And also I have another issue with why Lex Luthor ultimately would look down on himself from a being that's a god. One of his problems with Superman is that Superman is an alien who comes from a different planet, and he looks down and he feels like Superman's got all this power, and he makes humans look like they're worthless, that they don't have a purpose, that they're weak, that they need his saving. An alien that's superpowered. He's always been against metas, and he's always against superpowered beings that are greater than himself. And I can't really believe that Lex Luthor is going to be subservient to another being, especially one from a different planet, whether Perpetua created him or not. He's still going to want to be better than her, right? Because that's what Lex Luthor wants to be, is the greatest. He even defeated Brainiac, essentially, in this, and convinced Brainiac to let him lead this situation, when Brainiac clearly had Lex under his control in this run even. So I'm really confused about that, and I think that Lex is going to have something to try to dethrone Perpetua and take her power in some way. He's got to have some kind of scheme. But then we actually see that Perpetua talks, and she says she's so grateful for her children and for her child, and that she asks you, do you know the truth behind the symbol? That the lines represent the 7 dark forces, but the rest. The justice symbol asks you to reach past the ceiling into nowhere, into a nothing future. But Doom is not about looking elsewhere. Doom says that true power lies in looking deep inside one's own self and embracing one's own true nature that is rooted in the past. She says that Lex is now the perfect creature of Doom, a first child, an original human, her finest creation. But she will warn that this new form comes with vulnerabilities because he's still new to this form, and his enemies will try to exploit this. Lex chose ego here, and he says that he'll crush anyone who opposes his queen, not even himself. So again, subservient to Perpetua, and I don't think that's Lex Luthor. I mean, like, Lex Luthor wouldn't say that necessarily. Starro does mention that they're actually spying on the Justice League through their Starro fragment, and that the heroes have concocted a plan that they believe will give them the edge. Lex says that he'll show them that they're wrong, and that this final war between Justice and Doom is about to begin. We then actually return to the Hall of Justice, where we see that the Anti-Monitor and the World Forger are opening up these gateways in through Hypertime, because it is the World Forger himself who created Hypertime with his own hands. So he actually is able to tap into this, even though they're down-powered within our metaphysical plane and our reality. That the Sons of Perpetua, the Monitor, the Anti-Monitor is not here yet. But he's going to send a team of Green Lantern and the Flash into the past, and Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman into the future, and that everybody else and the rest of the Justice League is going to stay here and try to defend these portals in case Lex comes once he gets a sniff of this plan. But then the Anti-Monitor, the Monitor, the World Forger, Mara, and Kendra are actually going to go to try to find the Anti-Monitor to try to recruit him for his help. Starman uses the Cosmic Rod to tap into the different fragments of the Totalitarian for them to find like a tuning point of location for them to all seek into, and they all kind of go through the portals. We then actually see that they say that something felt strange, that they can hear something through time, and that they can't connect with them as soon as they went to the other side, that something went wrong, that there was a surge of power, but what does it mean? Then we actually see this mysterious figure, the one who's been spying on him, says that it means that the Justice League will die. And Mara tries to stop him, but he says that you failed to see the fatal flaw in this plan, and it has doomed you all. There is no other way. So then he sneaks into one of the portals. I can't actually see which one he goes into. I think he actually goes into the one on the left, which was the one that the Flash and Green Lantern went into. So that means this figure went into the past. And that should be important, and we'll probably learn more about that in the next issue. But then they wonder what the hell happened, because this creates a big crack-a-boom, which is normally something that involves like Speed Force type energy or something like that, which Hypertime would have that type of energy, that big crack-a-boom that the Flash normally makes when he runs and breaks the sound barrier. But that doesn't necessarily mean that this being is evil. And he's not the one who's spying on them, because the Starro fragment was the one spying on the Justice League for the Legion of Doom. So I don't know who this is yet, but then we actually go somewhere in the past where the Green Lantern and the Flash actually kind of crash land into the past, and you see like this golden type of light, and that's going to really mean something, but they don't really know where they've landed. They know it's New York City, but they don't really know and it looks like it's in the 20s, but they feel like something's gone wrong. As they look out the window, they see the symbol of the Legion of Doom, and they know that something went very wrong. Meanwhile, we go somewhere in the future where Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman is land, and they know also that something went wrong. And they look up and they see this giant robot with the Legion of Doom symbol on him, who shoots a kryptonite energy beam down upon them, and these tiger beings actually crash and tackle Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, tell them to get down and stay out of the way. And we look up and we actually see Kamandi, the last boy on Earth, which is another comic book in DC Comics. They had a run in Rebirth as well. It might have been a special or a one-shot or a 6 to 12 issue book series. I didn't actually read it, but Kamandi, the last boy on Earth, in case you don't know, he was actually featured earlier in the Justice League run when they showed the future, the past, and the totality traveling through all space and time. So that's finally linking back in. That was Scott Snyder planting a seed a long time ago. That was a nod that it was going to happen right now, and I love that Scott Snyder does that because he's really amazing at what he does. And Kamandi actually says that they're about 2 weeks too late to save their own future, which means something happened and something changed. And then we actually see we go back in time and we see the Flash and we see Green Lantern, and they're actually realizing that they're not where they're supposed to be, and it seems like they're in some kind of headquarters. We then see a whoosh of Speed Force energy that knocks the two of them down, and then this person says that yes, it's a secret headquarters, and that so we've got some questions for them. And John Stewart says that they're not here to fight, and then Barry Allen says that we came from your future to save reality, please, we need your help, but who are you? And then we actually see that it is the return for the first time, or the first time we're seeing the Justice Society of America. I'm talking the original Starman, I'm talking Hourman, Sandman, Wildcat, I'm talking Hawkman, I'm talking who's actually within our current timeline as well as Dr. Fate. The two of them are there too. They have the original Hourman, they have the original Atom, they actually have Alan Scott rather, the Green Lantern, who's based on magical energy. We see Jay Garrick as well, and it's actually Alan Scott who tells Barry Allen that I'm afraid whatever war you're waging, it was over before it ever began. And you're about 2 weeks too late to save the past, is what Jay Garrick says. And that's actually where we end this issue. And that the next issue is going to be the worlds at war. So that means that the Legion of Doom went 2 weeks before the Justice League went there in the future, and 2 weeks before the Justice League went there in the past, and they changed things and they altered the history before they could go back and get the totalitarian pieces. And so that's going to be interesting in the next issue. Either way, I thought this issue was really great. I had a great time with it. It was amazing to see the Justice Society of America return in some form of fashion. But how will they come back into our time? Will they come back into our time? That would be awesome. It would be a good little loophole to get them in. But then you're going to have contradictions and weird things like Dr. Fate and Hawkman and even Jay Garrick, who we have seen during the Button, who's trapped in the Speed Force. But this would be that same Jay Garrick in theory. So we'll see how that all plays out and how that all shakes up. I can't wait to see how that shakes out. Either way, I love this issue. I love this run. It's been amazing. A lot of callbacks, a lot of different things planted in this run, a lot of things that Scott Snyder is just building upon. Even like I said, how he touched in on multiversity and different things about the time and the different multiverses being attuned to like a musical energy. I think that's really cool. That was what Metal was about, like I said, in Multiversity. If you haven't checked that out, definitely. It's a much read. Grant Morrison is an amazing writer. He's actually doing the Hal Jordan Green Lantern run that I do need to catch up on. Love this issue. I'm Kelly One Shot. You can take this video, or you can check out this video on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/OneShotTheory, which you should already be here if you're watching this video, or you can also check it out, as always, on comicbooklegion.com, which we have a lot of great reviews, other podcasts, and my content as well. And definitely go out and support the channel, and definitely check out the website. I appreciate your time. I'm Kelly One Shot. Take care, have a great day, and goodbye.